Good afternoon. There are times where we can look at a situation and we can think about how we acted and we can't even really explain it. We did something wrong, and as we look at our experience, as we look at what we did, we think, how could I have possibly done that? How could I have made that decision? How could I have been so off base? How could I have been dragged away so easily into something I never really wanted to do? I never really wanted to do that bad thing. I never really wanted to go down that road, but we did. And we look back on those experiences and we think, I just don't get it. I don't understand where that kind of thinking comes from, where that kind of motivation comes from. Because we like to think of ourselves as good people. We like to think of ourselves as honest and hardworking, as people who wouldn't really make that kind of decision, who wouldn't really go that way and go that bad. But the truth is, we have. And if we're honest with our behaviors at times, we do some really terrible things. And where does that come from? Well, the book of James in the Scriptures, chapter 1, verse 14 says this, "But each person is tempted when he is dragged away and enticed by his own desire." The Bible is saying it comes from inside of us. There is desire inside of us that wants to give in to temptation, that wants to go down those roads that we can't believe that we did, because it's inside of us. We have sin that lives inside of us. And if that was all we were left with, this sin this desire to commit sin that's inside of us, if that's all we had, we would be lost. We would be lost for eternity. But the reality is, God has an answer to that. That we are not lost to the sinful desires that are within. That God has addressed every single sin that we have ever committed. He has addressed it in His Son Jesus. He sent Jesus to live and to die for that very sin, whatever that sin might be. As surprising as it may have been to us, Jesus has already paid for it. And that sin being already paid for means that you are forgiven. That you are forgiven and you have a motivation in Christ. You have a love from Christ. You have a strength that comes from Him to fight against that sinful desire that still lives inside of you. That God will take that sinful desire away when He calls you home. Until then, it is Jesus Christ and His forgiveness and His love and His power that lives in you to fight against those temptations, against those sinful desires. Until we see each other again, the Lord's blessings on your day.